AMA United States Motocross Nationals, brought to you by Suzuki. Your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Myers. Welcome to Millville, Minnesota, Spring Creek Motocross Park. It's round one of the 500cc National Championship Motocross Series. For those of you that have followed the series on Prime Network, it's round number 8 for the 125s. Now, we've got a lot of championship action motocross coming your way very shortly. But first, let's go back to the season finale of the 250 class in Massachusetts. Motocross 338 is the name of the park. It's in Southwick, Massachusetts. Guy Cooper on the right of your screen, number 1, the defending champ, chasing Mike Kiedrowski, number 4, for this year's title. Kiedrowski has the lead. The track here in Massachusetts, soft, and it's rough. Plenty rough. Each time around, the soft sand shifts. The lines are different, and it does create problems. Early going of moto number 1, you'll see what I mean. There's Jeff Emig in the lead. Kiedrowski second. Now watch Doug Henry in third. Over the bars. He's out of it in moto number 1. He got back up to finish 8th. And here's the battle for third. Guy Cooper passes Brian Swink for that position. Out front, Kiedrowski and Emig. The two leaders go down. Kiedrowski gets up first. He takes off. Emig has his problems. Took him a long time to get up. He finished 18th. Kiedrowski went on to pad his points lead in the championship chase in the 125 class by taking the moto win. Right behind him came Guy Cooper in the number 2 position. Now, Cooper and Kiedrowski have been the dominant figures in this 125 class. Kiedrowski, the 1989 champ. Cooper with the number 1 on his plate, the 1990 champ. Starting out moto number 2, it was Guy Cooper out front. Look who's giving chase, Mike Kiedrowski. The two dominant riders in the class going at it for moto and overall win honors in Massachusetts. For several laps, Cooper was able to maintain control of the pace, hold down the number 1 position. Backside of the track, out of sight of the cameras, Kiedrowski made the pass to take over that number 1 spot. Kiedrowski would go on to take the checkered flag for the second time today. While Guy Cooper continued to have problems, he slid all the way back to the number 6 position in that second moto. He lost 10 more points to Mike Kiedrowski in that title chase. Now, that 125 class is a 13-race series, so there are still 6 rounds remaining. The 250s, though, the gate just dropped on them. This is the season finale. A couple of riders down at the start. Both of them got up back into the action. No one hurt. They were well off the pace. Early going, it was Bradshaw, Jeff Ward, Jeff Stanton out front. Jean-Michel Bale, the man that would wrap up the title, rider number 8, he just flashed through the screen, was well back in the pack in the early going, but never mind that. Bale can move up to the front. He only needs like a 6th place in the first moto to win the title. He can do that standing on his head, stop for lunch, and fill the tank with gas. Stanton knew all that, made no difference. He was looking for the overall win in this season finale. He made the pass on Bradshaw to take over the number 1 spot, and he would go on to win this moto with ease. There's the checkered flag. Finishing in the number 2 position would be Damon Bradshaw. Third overall would go to Jeff Ward, the former 250cc national champ. Jean-Michel Bale would take 4th overall in the moto, and that gives him the title without even throwing a wheel on the track in moto number 2. Bale would go out there, though, and he would chase before the moto was over Jeff Stanton to the finish line. In the early going, it was Stanton followed by Jeff Ward, and Jean-Michel Bale, trying to stay out of trouble, was well back in the pack. Here comes Jean-Michel Bale, rider number 8. He's got a lot of passing to do before he moves into that number 2 position. Don't worry about it. Take my word for it. He's going to get the job done. He'll finish 2nd overall on the day, while Jeff Stanton, with a pair of moto wins, will take the overall honors. Here, interestingly enough, in the 7-race series, Jeff Stanton would win the overall title, or overall events rather, 4 times. Jean-Michel Bale would win none. The Frenchman, though, the more consistent of the 2 riders. Jeff Stanton takes the checkered flag. He wins the overall honors for the day, as we said, 4 times this season. Jean-Michel Bale, though, coming up on the checkered flag, would win the 250cc championship. Let's take a look at how they finished at Southwick. It was Stanton, Bale, Ward, Bradshaw, Matasevich in that order. Here are the final standings in the championship chase. Bale coming out on top, followed by defending champ Jeff Stanton, Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Matasevich, and Mike LaRocco rounding out the top 5. In the 125 class, we showed you that action earlier. It was Mike Kiedrowski with a pair of moto wins, padding his points lead. Lamson finished 2nd, Cooper, Antonez, Jeremy McGrath. Here are the standings. Kiedrowski on top of Cooper, Emig, Swink, and Lamson. Coming up, motocross action from Millville, Minnesota. Stay with us. Welcome back. I'm Larry Myers. With me, Bob Hanna. We're in Millville, Minnesota at Spring Creek Motocross Park, and it's a hot, sunshiny day. And Bob, I don't know how you're standing around here without a cap on, but the sun is really getting to me. What is it going to do to the riders as we enter this first round of 500cc competition?
Well, all these riders haven't been on a 500 this year. Not only being a very rough track, as you know, demanding track, a rider's track, it is very hot, and that 500 kicking you around, I think they're all in for a world of surprise.
They are. Now, I said it's the first round for the 500cc class, and indeed it is. Now, we have 125 action coming your way. For them, it's round number 8, so they know what to expect. But in that class, we have some surprises. Riders that have just switched from the 250 class that ended a week ago.
The 250 class, when they don't have a 500, LaRocco, for example, will ride a 125 first time this year. He likes them, and coming off a 250, I don't think they'll really have any problem.
Predictions today in that 500 class? You want to make one? That's a tough call.
Oh, I'd like to say it, but Bale, Stanton, Ward, and even Damon on a brand new bike, it could be anybody.
Action is just about to start here in Millville, and Bob, all I can say is I'm looking for outstanding racing in both the 125 and 500 class. Now, you have ridden here. It's a great track, and it's rough, and it's going to be good.
The only way I could have more fun here, Larry, is if I were riding out there myself. Watching is going to be coming in close second.
Bob, I would imagine the fans would like nothing more than to see you throw a leg over a motorcycle one more time, especially here at Millville, one of the toughest racetracks, one of the roughest and most difficult to ride on the circuit. It's full of sand, it's soft sand, the lines will shift every time around. There are a lot of whoop-de-doos, and Bob Hanna always favored the roughest tracks that he could possibly find. He'd have one out here today. The 125cc Moto number 1 is underway, and out front, a dogfight, a drag race between Doug Henry and Jeff Emig. It looks like it's going to be Henry. Right behind them, though, comes Brian Swink, that peak antifreeze Pro Circuit Racing Honda. Mike LaRocco is right there. They disappear into the trees, come back out of the rough stuff. And look at this. Already, Mike LaRocco has taken over the number 2 position. Now, we should point out, Bob Hanna mentioned this, but we'll point it out again. This is LaRocco's first race of the season in the 125 class. He had been riding 250s all year long. Suzuki does not have a 500cc machine. So LaRocco, in order to keep his body physically fit, his timing on the motorcycle down pat, has elected to ride the rest of the season in this 125 class. Right now, giving chase to Doug Henry. LaRocco had an opportunity to make the pass just a couple of corners ago, but Henry rebounded, came back very strong to hold on to the number 1 spot. There's Mike Kiedrowski giving chase. Kiedrowski, the 1989 champion in the 125 class, and the rider that figures to win the 1991 championship if he is able to maintain the point-setting pace that he has established here in recent outings. Kiedrowski has been the dominant rider of late in this 125 class. Earlier in the season, round 2, Doug Henry, rider number 31, the leader, was the overall winner in Sacramento, California. A muddy mess that kicked a good number of riders out, and Doug Henry just took advantage of their misfortunes and his own ability to control the mud to go on to capture that one moto race. That's all they had in Sacramento because of the race conditions, and Henry just showed his superiority to everyone on the track on that particular day. Right now, he's showing he can do it in the sand. The young rider is taking the measure of the best in the business. Mike LaRocco giving chase. And at this point, that's all it is a chase. He's not been able to put a dent in the composure of Doug Henry. In third place, it's Brian Swink out of Fenton, Michigan, aboard the Pro Circuit Honda. Fourth place is Jeff Emig. And back in the pack and struggling in this sand is this rider, defending champ Guy Cooper. Now, we go back a week ago, and Guy Cooper in Massachusetts was injured in a practice incident. Now, he was able to ride at Southwick, but his performance was affected, and it could be that it's still bothering him here today. He does not look comfortable on this racetrack. Here's someone that does look comfortable. Doug Henry has flat been getting the job done. Right behind him, of course, is Mike LaRocco. Then Brian Swink is doing some pushing. Jeff Emig is there. Mike Kiedrowski continues to close. Kiedrowski has really been on the gas since the drop of the gate on this one. Here goes LaRocco to the outside, looking for running room around Henry. Nowhere to get the job done. Henry doing a masterful job at filling up the lines here at Millville. He's handling this sand like it's in his backyard, and he practices on it every day. Here's the battle for fifth. That's Steve Lamson, number 29. Right behind him comes Mike Kiedrowski. They are closing on the leaders. Now LaRocco has taken over the number 1 spot. They disappeared from view with Henry holding down the number 1 position down in the trees. The track actually gets a little bit rougher down in that back section. Mike LaRocco managed to make the pass, took over the number 1 spot. It's Henry now in second. There's third place Brian Swink, rider number 42, one of the young up-and-coming Chargers in this 125 class. And LaRocco goes off the track just like that. Henry is back in front. LaRocco squirts back on, almost took out Swink in the process, but Swink got on the binders to avoid that conflict as Mike LaRocco just shot off the end of the track. He had just a little bit too much steam going into that corner. Came right back on again. No damage done, maybe to his pride, and he's got to go to work all over again. And look at this. In that far corner away from our camera, Brian Swink managed the pass, so he moves into the number 2 position. Now it's Doug Henry out front from Fairfield, Connecticut, aboard the DGY Yamaha. Holding down the number 2 position is Brian Swink on a Honda. Third place now Mike LaRocco, a Team Suzuki rider. His first outing of the season in this 125 class. Look at how rough this racetrack is. That was a downhill section. Riders are coming down that hill, probably 40 miles an hour. It's full of rocks, it's full of ruts. It is mean out here in Millville, Minnesota. Meanwhile, Henry and the DGY Yamaha flat getting the job done. Look at Henry, hold up the best in the business, hold him off. This young man continues to improve. Before this season is over, he could vary, and LaRocco goes down. Mike LaRocco goes down, becomes an instant roadblock. Jeff Emig managed to clear that block. Behind them came Lamson, came Mike Kidrowski, but now Emig is way off, or let me correct that, Mike LaRocco rather, way off the pace. Whether or not he will be able to gain back some of that ground is anyone's guess. A lot of room to run here. Look at how wide Brian Swink went in that corner as he tries to make something happen with the leader Doug Henry on this Millville racetrack. It's Henry. There he is, and Brian Swink right behind him. Now Swink goes to the inside. Swink starting to feel it. He's getting the rhythm down in this rough section of track. This is the whoops in the back section, and look how tough it is. That's where he passed Mike LaRocco just 1 lap ago, and now he takes over the number 1 position. Swink has gone into the lead. He just feels the rhythm as he pounds through that rough whoop section. I have never, ever seen a whoop section any tougher than that. So Swink leads it aboard the Pro Circuit Peak Antifreeze Honda, the DGY Yamaha of Doug Henry in second. Emig is third. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to Millville, Minnesota. We're at Spring Creek Motocross Park for National Championship Motocross, sanctioned by the American Motorcyclist Association. This is the opening moto of the 125cc class. Out front is Brian Swink, and look who is in second, Mike Kidrowski. He has been charging through the pack all day long and now puts himself in position to make the pass, and he does. Kidrowski takes over the number 1 spot, Swink back to second, holding third, the one-time leader, although it was a short-lived honor, Mike LaRocco. LaRocco early in the moto came from out of the pack to overhaul the then a leader who was Doug Henry, rider number 31, no longer in the picture. LaRocco not able to maintain the pace. He shot off the track, was repassed. That was Guy Cooper we were looking at. Cooper has been struggling, the defending champ and second in point standings, all day long. Cooper has simply not been able to put it together, and he has paid the price. Now, Mike Kidrowski so far this season has won 3 overall events in this 7 races that have been run to date. And he's looking for overall win number 4 out here today. He has a serious points lead in this 125 class. The 1989 champ. Looks like if Cooper does not change his ways, if some other rider does not come up to challenge in the latter part of the season, that he is going to be the runaway winner. Kidrowski takes the checkered flag, wins moto number 1. Behind him, Mike LaRocco, Team Suzuki. Then came Brian Swink, Jeff Emig, and Steve Lamson. Guy Cooper finished 6th. We'll have action in the 500cc class. The opening round right after this. Be sure to stay with us. Welcome back to Millville, Minnesota, AMA National Championship Motocross. That's Ron Lachine, rider number 100. We'll talk about Lachine a little bit later in the program. For now, let me just say good to have him back on the National Championship circuit. And there's rider number 11 aboard the air-cooled Yamaha. That's Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Ward for the past 2 seasons. Ward has captured this 500cc championship. He'd love to make it 3 in a row. 30 years of age, the oldest rider on the circuit that is active and doing well. There's the rider that finished 2nd the past 2 seasons, Jeff Stanton. He wants to change his ways. Here's Bob Hanna, who earlier talked with Stanton.
Millville pits with a very interesting-looking guy. You look super serious right now. You haven't had the best of luck this year. You're riding, you're acting in the pits. You look mean.
I haven't won a championship this year, and 500 is supposed to be my premier class, so I'm ready to win.
It's kind of a do-or-die situation now, or you're going to have to wait till next year to prove your point. Is that right?
Nothing's do or die. I just want to do it for myself. Go out there and win a championship this year and win a 500 championship. I haven't yet to win a 500 championship, so looking forward to doing it this year.
Last year it looked like you were going to, and you had one. It doesn't take but one mistake anymore. With only 5 race series, one crash could ruin the whole series. This year you're really concentrating?
Yeah, you can't win 5 out of the 6 races and fall on your head the 6th race and expect to win. So I'm looking forward to going out there and having a good, consistent ride and taking as many national wins also.
Got to be top 3 every weekend?
Every weekend, top 3, and I look forward to top 2.
And the toughest competition should come from rider number 8.
In the pits with one very fast Frenchman, Jean-Michel Bayle.
Yeah.
You've won the 250 class, you've won the Supercross class. Today's the first 500. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel good. You know, I like to ride in 500. I won one race when I come over 2 years ago, so I feel very good, and I make a lot of progress on my bike, and everything worked good, so I hope to win.
I was watching you a little bit out there today, and you look so smooth on it. You don't look like you use any energy at all. That's got to be a big help.
Yeah, today is going to be, you know, a little bit hot, so I hope I can save energy and I can finish the race very fast.
This race is very important to you. You want this 500 class, or are you kicking back a little bit after those 2 championships?
Every race is very important for a championship, so I just going to try to finish the race and try to win if I can.
Interestingly enough, the 3 riders featured there, Jeff Stanton, Jean-Michel Bayle, and Bob Hurricane Hanna, doing the interviewing of the 3. None of them have ever won a 500cc World Championship. My money says that that is going to change when this series is over. The gate is dropped, and Moto number 1, the opening round at Millville, Minnesota, of the 500cc title chase is underway. And it's the veteran, 2 times a 500cc champ on Team Kawasaki, Jeff Ward, holding down the number 1 position. Right behind him comes Jean-Michel Bayle, rider number 8. In 3rd place on a tough racing Kawasaki, Todd DeHoop. 4th place held down by the rider with the number 2 on his number plate. That's Jeff Stanton, and Bayle has already made the move. Not waiting for anything or anyone, Jean-Michel Bayle has moved into the number 1 spot. He did it on the back section of this track, down among the trees, out of sight of the cameras. I don't know what kind of move he put on Ward. Ward is tough to pass on any racetrack. You can bet that he did not just roll over. Jean-Michel Bayle takes over the number 1 position. He's followed now by Jeff Ward, the 2-time and defending 500cc national champ on this rough and tough, ever-changing, the lines that is ever-changing, Millville racetrack. We explained earlier in the 125 class, and it's even more critical here as Bradshaw has worked to the number 3 position with Stanton 4th, dropping DeHoop back to 5th. It's even more critical in this 500 class because of all of the power that they have and all of the dirt that they're able to throw out from that rear wheel. Once they turn that throttle on, they will change the line for the motorcycle behind them forevermore. It's all a crapshoot in a race like this, on a track like this, one of the roughest in the country, certainly one of the best in the country. The riders love it here. They love the tough conditions. You make it tough, they said, and we will come and ride it. So as Jean-Michel Bayle out front looking for his 3rd championship of the season, there he is, rider number 8, comes out of France, currently residing in Redondo Beach, California, 22 years of age. He has won 2 world titles so far this year, 2 U.S. titles. There's Damon Bradshaw now in the number 2 position. He has gotten by Jeff Ward to take command of that slot. It's Bradshaw in 2nd, rider number 11. Now, the unique thing here is the Yamaha that Bradshaw is riding is essentially the same one that Brock Glover rode for Team Yamaha, and I would point out that Glover is the winningest rider in the history of U.S. motocross in the 500cc class. He won 18 overall events, but that is the same Yamaha that Bradshaw is riding. It's an air-cooled. There's not been that much development from Yamaha in the 500cc class in recent years. They looked at it as kind of a dinosaur in that it was drying, and we've reached the halfway point in this 500 moto. That's what the cross flags indicated. But Bradshaw, they resurrected it just for this young man. Made a few modifications to the frame to update it. The suspension system updated slightly, and is it competitive? Well, the answer to that is obvious. Yes, indeed it's competitive. He came from out of the pack to catch Jean-Michel Bayle. and Bradshaw just doing a whale of a job. He's ahead of Jeff Stanton in third, and there's our number 4 rider. Rider number 1, Jeff Ward. He's holding down that number 4 position. Bradshaw is all over Bale. Look at this. He goes wide through the whoops. Can he get there first? He does. Bradshaw takes over the lead in this 500cc moto aboard the motorcycle that many in the early going said, hey, at best it's going to be suspect. At best, it will only last for a few laps. It's going to run out of power. You got to have that water-cooled development. Well, Bradshaw says, we'll see. He said, let it run out of power. I got an awful lot left. Won't bother me in the least. Bradshaw holding down the number 1 position, looks to his left. He sees the rebounding of Jean-Michel Bale, as Bale not going away at all. Now Bale studying the lines of Bradshaw. He's looking for some type of passing room. Bradshaw pays no attention. He just riding his own race, picks him up, lays him down here in the soft sand at Millville, Minnesota. Taking the number 3 position is Jeff Stanton. They're starting to move now on the leaders. Here comes Jeff Ward from the number 4 spot. Here's 5th place, Ron Lechien. We talked earlier and said, welcome back, Lechien. It was just a year and a half ago that Lechien injured his leg badly, had a broken femur. He did that in Pennsylvania. Took over a year to heal, and Lechien has been slow to come back onto the circuit, but looking good now aboard a tough racing Kawasaki, and we look for his chances to win. We look for his riding style, his finishing position to increase, to get better as the season rolls on, and Lechien gets to his 2nd win underneath him, gets some of that timing back. Damon Bradshaw falters momentarily. Around the outside goes Bale. Bradshaw got sidewise just for an instant, and Bale was quick to pounce. Jean-Michel Bale taking back that number 1 position. Bradshaw, 18 years old, from Charlotte, North Carolina, aboard the factory Yamaha, settles back into 2nd. Over the top of that jump, Bale looking sideways, looking for Bradshaw, wondering if the youngster from Charlotte is going to try another sneak attack, and Bradshaw had it in his mind. It looked like there may have been some running room there, but he just wisely backed off to hold on to that number 2 spot. It's Stanton 3rd, 4th place Jeff Ward, and there's Ron Lechien in 5th. Good to have Lechien back. At the outset of this moto, at the outset of this race at Millville, it was questioned whether or not Jean-Michel Bale would be capable of handling a 500cc motorcycle. Now, if you look at it in terms of pure raw talent, well, there should have been no discussion at all. Obviously, Bale has that, but no one had ever seen the Frenchman aboard a 500cc bike. Would he get the job done? Would he be able to hold on to it? Would his very smooth and precise riding style lend itself to the powers of the 500? Well, I think the question has been answered out here today. And I think you can say resoundingly it's yes, 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 yes. Whatever you want to say, Jean-Michel Bale can do it on a motorcycle. Now Stanton is challenging for the number 2 position. Jeff Stanton, rider number 2 aboard the Honda. He's holding down that number 3 spot. It was Bradshaw out in front of him, rider number 11. And Stanton now has taken the measure of Bradshaw. Stanton out in front of Bradshaw. Indeed he is. It's Stanton in 2nd place, Bale in front, Stanton 2nd, Bradshaw 3rd, and Jeff Ward holding down the number 4 position. Will Stanton be able to come up? Will he be able to gain? There's a lap rider. There's this kind of a gap between Bale. There is Stanton now. You can see the distance between them. And here comes Jeff Stanton, and there is Damon Bradshaw holding down the 3 spot. Ward is continually falling off the pace. Could be having some kind of a problem with the Kawasaki, or Ward maybe realizing that, hey, this one is going nowhere. I don't have a prayer of winning it. I'll just settle for what I can get, regroup my forces, come back out in moto number 2, and put a dent in the plans of all of these front runners that are holding down the good positions in moto number 1. Jean-Michel Bale out front, and Jeff Stanton has been repassed by Damon Bradshaw. Bradshaw has regained the number 2 position. All this action is taking place behind Jean-Michel Bale, and you have to think that Bale probably could care less. He's just saying, hey, do whatever you want back there. Stay away from me. I want to hold on to this lead, and I don't want you guys up here messing with me. I would like to go for, get this, 3 championships in the 1991 season. The talented Frenchman, 22 years old, has already wrapped up the Supercross Championship, the Camel Supercross Series. He did that early in the season, had just 1 week prior won the 250cc crown, and now he has a leg up in the chase for the 500 title. There's Bradshaw. He finished in the number 2 position. Behind him, rider number 2 is Jeff Stanton. He finished 3rd. 4th place in the opening moto of this 500cc class will go to Jeff Ward, rider number 1 aboard the Team Kawasaki, the defending 500cc national champ. And 5th place is going to go out to rider number 100, Ron Lechien, and we'll be back. Welcome back. I'm Larry Myers. You've been watching AMA National Championship Motocross, and there is still a lot more to come. Before we get to it, though, let's go inside motocross with retired champion Bob Hurricane Hanna.
Hello, I'm Bob Hurricane Hanna, and welcome to another edition of Inside Motocross. Welcome to another edition of Inside Motocross. I'm Bob Hanna, and today we're going to continue our look behind the scenes of the world's fastest motocross machines as we talk to some of the people and see some of the equipment that keep the motocross machines on the cutting edge. One of the most important people behind the scene in motocross today is the factory mechanic. Today we've got Marshall Plum, Guy Cooper's factory mechanic, with us today. Marshall, tell me, if you're going to a track you've never been to, what would be the game plan for you and your rider?
The best thing that I would do, or that we would do as a team, me and Guy, is we try to go to the track and ride the bike the same way that we rode it last time at the previous event, and start off with that, and then we'll get to the track, look at the soil, the dirt, the altitudes, the weather itself, and then we'll have to maybe change the jetting, depending on the weather. The track, if it was real hilly, we might have to change the gearing. And then suspension, we will go out and try and fine-tune it to the track condition, and sometimes we might have to change components and even go to different suspension components depending on the track itself.
Race day for you, a busy day obviously. Can you give us a rundown? Say start at 5:30 in the morning and tell us how it goes. I know you guys got to get up a little earlier than the rest of us.
Yeah, it's Sunday's usually a long day for us. We'll get a 5 o'clock wake-up call and try to be at the track by 5:30, no later than 6. Get there, unload your truck, get everything set up to where that it's organized to work throughout the day, and then I'll go out and take a look at the track and see how the track is looking, and try and have some tires, ready to go, so that when Guy shows up around 8 o'clock, we can discuss what type of tires we want to use on the track. And then we'll get the bike set up for that day's riding and ready for him to go up practice at around 9 o'clock. Depending on weather, it might start to rain. You might have to make some small changes, but normally he likes to go out in the first practice and try and get some hard riding in to make sure everything is fine-tuned for the condition of the track.
How about for you? You get the bike ready, Guy rides the first moto, he's doing his job the first 35 minutes, then you've got approximately an hour to get that bike ready for the next moto. Is that a rush always, or can it be a rush, or how's that go for you?
Sometimes things go smoothly. If the weather's bad, it's raining out, it can make that 1 hour turn into an eternity. But we practice what we do, you do it every day of your life, and we try and get everything done in that time period we can.
After the between moto rush and the hurry up to get ready to go, then your job's over basically for the day and it's back to the rider?
You could almost say that, or it looks that way when you're out on the track, but I always try and keep an eye on the bike throughout the whole moto, because even though that race is over with at the end of the day, you might be able to learn something going into next week that could be an advantage to you. So your day is really never over with until the next morning begins.
Everything starts back over again Monday morning there.
Yeah, it's like a continuous cycle. You never have that much time off. You're always thinking about ways to make things work better and try and stay on top, because it's pretty tight competition out there this year.
I'm Bob Hanna, and we'll see you next time inside Motocross.
Thank you, Bob Hanna, for that inside look at motocross. Moto number 2 in the 125 class, about set to get underway. The head Suzuki cheerleader, that's Guy Cooper's wife, delivering goggles to her husband. Steve Lamson is set to go. We'll have action for you right after this. Welcome back to Millville, Minnesota. Mike LaRocco finishing second behind Mike Kidrowski in Moto number 1. It's LaRocco's first ride of the season in the 125 class. Here he is with Bob Hanna earlier today.
Mike LaRocco, you've been riding 250s all year. This is the first 125 for you. You've got a second place in the first moto. You having fun?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun out there. I had to lead at one point, but I couldn't keep her on two wheels, and I fell down, and I had a lot of fun out there racing with Kidrowski, but hopefully the results are a little different this second moto.
Well, you can bet Mike LaRocco is set, and so is Mike Kidrowski, winner of Moto number 1. So far this season, Kidrowski, the 1989 125cc national champ, has won 3 overall events out of the 7 events run to date. He's on top of the points standing by a pretty healthy margin over Guy Cooper, who's holding down that number 2 position. Cooper finishing 6th in Moto number 1 was really never a factor, and to be very honest, it would appear that Guy Cooper just didn't feel the track. He wasn't looking all that good, was having his problems. He was struggling. The gate has dropped. Moto number 2 in the 125 class is underway for this 125cc championship series. It's round number 8. A big pileup off to the side of the screen, but they were off to the side of the track. They were not hit. Riders, in fact, getting up back onto their motorcycles and into the fray. Out front, it's Steve Lamson, rider number 29 of that Pro Circuit Peak Antifreeze Honda team. Lamson grabbing the whole shot and running away from the field here in Moto number 2. He just dominated so far these opening corners. How long can he keep it up? Anyone's guess. Jeff Emig, rider number 18, he was the early leader in Moto number 1, is holding down aboard his Yamaha the number 2 position. Also up front, Doug Henry was there with that number 31 DGY Yamaha. Mike Kidrowski was fairly close. Mike LaRocco, he was up front. So most of the good riders are right up in front. They're all chasing this young man, though. Steve Lamson, rider number 29, who comes out of Pollock Pines, California. Lamson finished 5th in the first moto, looking to better that out here today in the way he's riding. Who's to say he's not? He has really got it under control and out of gas. In the second position is Jeff Hemming, rider number 18. Third place, let's give that to Buddy Antonez. Mike LaRocco 4th. One of the Pro Circuit riders looked like Jeremy McGrath in 5th. Mike Kidrowski was right on his rear wheel. We got all of the good riders up front and chasing, as I said before, rider number 29 out of Pollock Pines, California, Steve Lamson. Lamson turning in his most impressive ride of the season. Heading into this round 8 of the 125cc championship series at Millville, Lamson was in the number 5 position in the standings. He turned in some good rides. However, he had not turned in any kind of a ride that would indicate that he was ready to be the winner that he looks like today out here in Millville, Minnesota. This rough and tough and tumble soft sand track. Just take a look at the bumps that have formed in this racetrack since the start of the moto. Every time around when a motorcycle lands, they turn the throttle on, the rear wheel spins a little bit, and it throws some of the sand out from under its rear wheel. The next time around, someone else will land in that same spot, dig that trench a little bit deeper, or maybe they'll land next to it, fill that trench up, but start a whole new one. So the lines continually shift. Now look at the whoop-de-doos. It just seems like they go on for miles and miles. You get a little relief because you make that tight left-hand corner, and what is staring you in the face? Coming back the opposite way? You guessed it, more of those very deep and very treacherous whoop-de-doos. Steve Lamson, though, getting the job done. Here's a look at Jeff Emig in the number 2 position. Emig is second aboard the Team Yamaha. Holding down third would be the Suzuki rider number 6, Mike LaRocco. So it's Lamson, Emig, and LaRocco holding down the front-running positions in this one. For those of you that have just joined us, it's the second moto in the 125 class. It's round number 8 of the 125cc National Championship Motocross Series. Now there is Jeff Emig in second, being chased by LaRocco. Back to the leader, that's Steve Lamson, rider number 29. Lamson comes out of California. It's hot here in Millville. The temperature's approaching 90 degrees with a high humidity factor. Of course, that makes it miserable for riding. You'll notice, though, that some of the riders, and Mike LaRocco has moved into the number 2 position. LaRocco has taken over second place. Emig dropped back to third. Here comes Mike Kidrowski. Now, Kidrowski from out of the pack has moved all the way up to 4th. Kidrowski, with an excellent come-from-behind ride in Moto number 1, went on to claim the checkered flag. Can he do it again in Moto number 2? I would not bet against him. Kidrowski is one tough young man. Mike LaRocco, meanwhile, has closed the gap between himself and Steve Lamson. LaRocco just 1 lap ago made that pass over Emig to take over second. He's not wasted any time. He has closed the gap, and look at this. When LaRocco went through the pits, his mechanic flashed him the sign, said Kiedrowski is closing. So what LaRocco wants to do now is waste no more time. If he can possibly make the pass, if he can force the issue, he is going to do it. Now, he has been content for the past few corners to follow the lines of Steve Lamson, to study them, to see if Lamson is making some kind of a mistake that he would be able to capitalize on to move into that front runner's position. Lamson, though, has not been making any. He has been doing everything right. Here's Lamson in the lead, rider number 29. He's led since the outset in moto number 2. We're now at the halfway points. That's what the checkered flags indicate as they flash through that finish line area. And Lamson has still under control this second moto. He has really ridden a brilliant race. LaRocco has tried for the past lap and a half or so to force the issue. He's put the wheel on the inside. He's put the wheel on the outside. He wants to pass Lamson as quickly as he can. Lamson refuses to cooperate. Now LaRocco making a new line. He's switched lines. He's going to the extreme outside in this whoop-de-doo section, while Kiedrowski, number 4, continues to charge. He's closing the gap. LaRocco had made the pass. He passed Steve Lamson at the end of that rough whoop-de-doo section and is now pulling away, and we'll be back with more action right after this. Welcome back to this Power Sports production. We're in Millville, Minnesota. It's round 8 of the 125cc National Championship. Still to come, the second moto in the 500cc class. Now, for that particular class, it is the opening round of the series. Just 1 week ago, we wrapped up the 250 title. Jean-Michel Bayle won that one, and those riders now switching their talents into the 500 class. A few of them, though, electing to ride the second half of the 125cc season, and one of those being Mike LaRocco. The white flag is out. We're on the last lap of the second moto. Steve Lamson, the early leader, has done just a masterful job in keeping his motorcycle upright and riding probably the most brilliant race of the season for him. Finishing in the number 3 position, I should say in the number 3 position at the present time is Mike Kiedrowski. Kiedrowski has come from way off the pace. There's Jeff Emig in 4th. Kiedrowski coming from way off the pace to close on the leaders in these last few laps. But assuming they make no serious mistakes, he's not going to get the job done. It's going to be Mike LaRocco, who finished in the number 2 position in moto number 1. It'll be Steve Lamson, who will finish second. Mike Kiedrowski, the winner of moto number 1, will take home a 3rd place in this, the second moto. Behind him comes Jeff Emig. That's the order they're in. Now, the checkered flag has still not been reached, and we're saying, of course, that barring any unforeseen incidents, that's the way it's going to end. Now, there's Guy Cooper. Cooper has struggled, as I've said on several occasions, all day long. He's just not been comfortable. Could be he's hurting. He could be sore from an injury suffered in a practice incident a week ago. Checkered flag. The overall win will go to LaRocco. Finishing behind Mike LaRocco will be Steve Lamson. He's the rider that led throughout the biggest share of this one. Mike Kiedrowski, rider number 4, winner of moto number 1, will take home the number 3 position. In 4th, it's going to be the Yamaha ace, the young man, Jeff Emig, rider number 18. There's Emig, and holding on, if he keeps it upright, to finish 5th will be Brian Swink from the Pro Circuit team. Still to come, the second moto in the 500cc class. We'll be back with that 500cc action right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to Millville, Minnesota, Spring Creek Motocross Park. There's Jean-Michel Bayle, 2 championships so far this year, plus he has won the opening round, the opening moto of this 500cc championship, getting underway here at Millville today. Jeff Ward, 2 times a 500cc and defending national champion, Jeff Stanton. He would love to win this title. He's never won a 500 crown for the past 2 seasons. He has finished second behind Jeff Ward when he came into championship motocross, professional motocross. Stanton was pegged as a potential 500 champ. Since then, he's won the Supercross title twice. He's won the 250 title twice, but never that open crown. So whether or not he gets it done in his career, be up to him. Maybe this season, who knows? Right now, the guy you got to look at is Jean-Michel Bayle. Do not count out Damon Bradshaw. Don't count out Jeff Ward. And a rider that we really did not expect to do all that well. Finished 5th in moto number 1, Ron Lechine. We'll take a look at him as this moto progresses. The gate is dropped, and who gets the whole shot but Damon Bradshaw? So the powers of the suspect Yamaha no longer suspect. They're out there in front for everyone to see. Second place in moto number 1, grabbing the whole shot in moto number 2. Now behind Bradshaw, looking for room to pass, trying to make some kind of a error, or force an error, I should say, was Jean-Michel Bale. Bale went to the inside of that corner, and you saw flashing around the outside the numeral 2 on the number plate. That, of course, belongs to Jeff Stanton down at the far end of the track. Stanton goes around the outside, stays on the outside the long way around, and he has taken over the number 2 position. So it's Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Stanton, Jean-Michel Bale, Jeff Ward holding down the number 4 position, and in 5th, it's Ron Lechien. Now, on this tough Minnesota racetrack with all of the sands and all of the whoops, the 500cc motorcycles are a handful. They are heavier than their 250 counterparts, obviously much heavier, and Stanton goes to the inside, tries to make the pass on Bradshaw. Bradshaw slammed the door, held on to the lead. Bradshaw refused to give ground as Stanton got the wheel on the inside and looked like he was ready to force Bradshaw to the outside, but Bradshaw just grabbed a handful of Yamaha power, came storming back to hold down that number 1 position. I started to say that obviously the 500s are a much heavier motorcycle than the 125, and there goes Stanton to the inside again. I'll never get this statement out as Stanton has now made the pass. Stanton takes over the number 1 position around the announcing tower. They fly through this rough, tough sand at Millville, Minnesota. They're riding them just like 250s and 125s. Look at the rear end swap. This track is so tough. It is so nasty and gnarly, it is unbelievable. I don't understand how the riders are able to keep the motorcycles upright. You'll see them hitting the bumps that kick the motorcycle sideways. It'll kick the rear end straight up in the air and come up and slap the rider, as Jean-Michel Bale made a monumental error there. Let's go back and take a quick look. Bale coming up to that little corner. Here he is. Now watch him. Bale just stalls the motorcycle. He stalls the motorcycle. The rest of the field goes on by. Jeff Ward has moved to the number 3 position. Bale recovered. He held on to hold down 4th, but that was a costly mistake on his part. That's going to give the front runners an opportunity to do nothing but put space between themselves and Bale, winner of Moto number 1. And that's exactly what is in their mind. They don't even know that that happened. They only know that we're going to keep it pinned for the rest of this moto. That's the way Stanton is riding it, wide open all the way. Now it's Stanton out front, and Jeff Ward has taken over the number 2 position. Damon Bradshaw has dropped back to 3rd, and here comes Bale. I don't know what has happened with Bradshaw. Bradshaw does not seem to be riding the motorcycle the way he did in the early going. Now Bale goes right around the outside, and Bradshaw pretty much lets him go. That's the way that Jeff Ward had made the pass. It just looks like Bradshaw is either having a motorcycle problem or possibly a physical problem. He's dropped back to that number 4 position, and he is not attacking the course like he did in the early going. A definite change in his riding style. Meanwhile, here is a rider that is attacking. That was Stanton, and Ward in 2nd. Bale now holding down 3rd and starting to close slightly on Jeff Ward. You want to talk attack? This is the only way that Jeff Stanton knows how to ride. One of the most aggressive riders that you'll find anywhere. Certainly one of the strongest. He is in the peak of his physical conditioning as far as his career goes. He's never been this strong. He's never been this determined or dedicated. He lost 2 titles already this season. He lost the Supercross crown. He lost the 250 National Championship crown. He lost them both, to his teammate Jean-Michel Bale, and frankly, he's fed up. He's tired of losing. He wants to do whatever it will take, and will do whatever it will take to come back and capture the first 500cc title of his career. He's going to have his hands full. Bale has moved to the number 2 position ahead of Ward, and Bale is now giving chase to Jeff Stanton. A study in contrast if we watch those riders. And back in 3rd place, that was Jeff Ward we saw. Here is Damon Bradshaw, who is still holding down 4th. And Bradshaw, who just a few laps ago was having some kind of a problem, apparently now correcting that problem. He's riding much more smoothly than he did in the middle part of that moto. And now Jean-Michel Bale begins to close on Jeff Stanton. Since taking over the lead, Jeff Stanton, after passing Bradshaw, has had things pretty much his own way, but now being threatened. Here goes Bale to the outside. Stanton's going to take him up high. No, Stanton lets him go. Stanton had an opportunity there to put Bale off into the bushes, or at least block his passing maneuver, but it's almost as if Stanton was saying, Hey, you deserved it. You've come up this far to catch me. I'm going to let you have it for the time being. And rather than go to any type of a dirty tactic to hit Bale, he just let his teammate go by. Gesture of sportsmanship, gesture of defeat? I don't think so. I think as Bale takes the checkered flag for the second time today, Stanton was just saying that you bested me here. You deserved it. I'm going to let you go. There'll be tomorrow. Still to come here on Prime Network, we'll have a word with our winners. Stay with us. Welcome back to Millville, Minnesota. If you have just joined us, we've been watching exciting motocross race action here at Spring Creek Motocross Park. In the 125 class, after 8 rounds, the standings look like this. It's Mike Kidrowski on top, followed by Cooper, Emig, Swink, and Lamson. The 250 class, let's take a look at those standings. It's Jean-Michel Bale, then Jeff Stanton, Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Ward, with Ron Lachine, a pair of 5th places today, rounding out the top 5. And you could only wonder if Lachine might not get better as the season goes on. And with that, another exciting day of racing comes to a close. We're in Millville, Minnesota for the opening round of that 500cc National Championship. It was hot here today. Mike, I just don't know. Mike Larocco, the winner of the 125 class, I don't know how you guys were able to take it out of the track. I'll tell you, the sun was just beating down, and I was drenched with sweat, and I can imagine how you guys must have felt.
Yeah, we got pretty sweaty out there, but also we were moving, so that helped a lot. But the sun was out, and it was a hot day, but it was a lot of fun.
The 125 class, your first ride this season, and it looks to me like you should have been there all year long.
Yeah, I enjoyed riding 125 today, and especially that I won. And if I'd have done that every week, I guess I should have been on 125.
Mike Larocco won his first ever national championship here at Millville just 1 year ago. The winner of the opening round in the 500cc National Championship Series, he picked up right where he left off in the 250 class as a winner. Already Jean-Michel Bale, 2 titles this year, the Supercross title, the 250cc National title, and you're working on a 3rd one.
Yeah, I just got two championships this year, so I'm gonna try my best for try to take this one, and if I can take, I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna try my best and try to do everything I can.
The way you rode today, I can only think of one word: domination. You dominated the class.
Yeah, today I have a very good start, and I was riding very good. I was very confident, and my bike was perfect, and everything was great.
Everything was great indeed. It was a great day here in Millville, Minnesota. From here we go to Washougal, Washington. It'll be round 2 of the 500cc series. For the 125s, it's round number 9. We'll see you there on Prime Network. I'm Larry Myers. So long.